In this video, we're going to learn how to round numbers to a given number of significant figures. The radius of the Earth is 6,371 kilometers. Now, are we likely to quote this figure exactly like that? Well, we're probably not. We're probably not going to say the radius of the Earth is 6,371 kilometers. We'd probably say something like maybe 6,000 kilometers. Or what if we wanted to be a little bit more accurate? Well, in that case, we'd have to say 6,400 kilometers. Because from our last video, if we want to round this to the nearest 100, the 3 will be rounded up to 4. And we're going to generalize this today with significant figures. So an important definition, the first significant figure is the first digit in a number which is not 0. So let's have a look at some examples. Underline the first significant figure in each of these numbers. The first number, 3.47, for this I need only underline the 3 because that is the first digit which is not 0. For the second number, the first digit which is not 0 is 8, so that's what I would underline. In the third number, the first digit which isn't 0 is 3. And then in the last number, the first digit which isn't 0 is 7. So those are my first significant figures underlined. Every digit, including zeros, which come after the first significant figure are also significant. So have a look at these examples. We want to underline the second significant figure in each of the following. So for the first number, the first significant figure is 3, so the second significant figure is 4. The second number, the first significant figure is 7. Now that means that the second significant figure is 0. You might think, well, it's 0, but as long as it's not a 0, which is a leading 0, it's not a 0 at the front, it's still significant. For the third number, the first significant figure is the 8, because it's the first digit which isn't 0, and then everything after it is significant. The second significant figure is 0. And lastly, the first significant figure is 2, so the second significant figure is the 0 which comes after. Finally, to round a number to a number of significant figures, we underline the relevant significant figure and look at the neighbour to the right, exactly as we've done with decimal places and rounding to the nearest 10, 100 or 1000. 5 or more round up, otherwise we leave it alone. So, for example, round to one significant figure. The first number, I'm going to underline my first significant figure, which is 4. It's in the 400, it's in the hundreds column. I draw a dotted line after that. The 5, which is the nearest neighbour to the right, tells the 4 to round up. So we are going to have an answer of 5. And then after the dotted line, we have zeros, 500. Secondly, we have 232. Underline the first digit, dotted line, the 3 tells us to round down, so we have 200. Now, when we have decimals, we ought to be a little bit more careful. Because we are asked to round to one significant figure, our answer should only contain one significant figure. So, firstly, I underline the first significant figure, which is 4. Draw a dotted line. The 7 tells the 4 to round up, so I end up with 0.5. Because I'm rounding to one significant figure, I quote my answer as 0.5. I would not include a 0 afterwards, because that would give me two significant figures in the answer. Lastly, 0.098, I underline the first significant figure, which is 9. Dotted line, the 8 tells the 9 in the hundredths column to round up. 9 hundredths plus 1 hundredth is 10 hundredths, which is a tenth. So that will actually make 0.1. Remember, if a 9 rounds up, it will increase the number in the left column by 1. So we have 0.1 and we leave our answer as 0.1 because we're rounding to one significant figure. So some more examples here before I give you some questions. So firstly, I want to round to one significant figure. So I underline my first significant figure. I draw a dotted line. The 4 tells the 3 to stay as it is, not to round up. So we have 3. Now, because I want this to one significant figure, I'm just going to leave it as 3. The second example, I underline my second significant figure. I draw a dotted line. The 4 tells the 7 to stay as it is, so I have 8.7. And I leave my answer like that because I want my answer to 2 significant figures. Lastly, I want my answer to 3 significant figures. So I want to round to 3 significant figures, so I go to my third digit, my third significant figure. Draw a dotted line. The 5 tells me to round up, so I have 0.785. Because I want to give my answer to 3 significant figures, I leave it as 0.785. Please have a go at these questions. Pause the video, have a go, and when you're ready for the answers, press play. Notice for D, it's very important that I've given my answer as 0.030 because if I'm rounding to 2 significant figures, my answer needs to contain 2 significant figures. So if I'd left it as 0.03, that would be wrong because that only has 1 significant figure. To finish off, I'd like you to have a go at some GCSE questions with your calculator. So please complete these calculations with your calculator and then give your answer to the specified number of significant figures. So for the first question, I would like the answer to 2 significant figures. For the second question, I would like the answer to 2 significant figures. And for the third one, I would like the answer to 3 significant figures. For C, I would like the answer to 1 significant figure. So please pause the video now. These are the answers.